Welcome to the Pull Podcast. I am your host, Big Jack, and today we have a special guest with us, Rich Voss. Welcome to the show, sir.
Well, thank you for having me. Why would they call you Big Jack? I don't get it.
I don't know. It could have something to do with size. It could.
It's not your head?
No, well, the head for sure, but it's not from like ego head. It's just more like just the actual size of it. It's round.
No, you look great. This is a nice studio. Everything about this is insane how nice it is.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We enjoy Sausalito, and being close to the water keeps it nice and cool. I hope the accommodations were well. And
great place. I've never been to this area.
No?
No, I mean, I've been all over, worked all over California. Mm-hmm. You know, San Francisco many times. Matter of fact, my first honeymoon, we went to San Francisco. We stayed at a bed and breakfast on Octavia and Lombard.
Okay.
This was my first wife. It had to be 35 years ago. I remember doing a weekend on my honeymoon. There was a club back then called the Holy City Zoo.
Interesting name.
It was about the size of this room. Robin Williams started there. A lot of San Francisco comics started there. So I remember working there. And then throughout the years, San Francisco, and I've worked California, Northern, whatever.
Yeah.
La Jolla's beautiful. This reminds me of La Jolla, kind of.
Yeah,
just
a little
bit beach town. La Jolla is more of a lot of clothing stores, and so you can walk through. But
sure.
Here reminds me of just a quiet town on the water.
Yeah, that's why we like it, I think. And you should check out Cavallo Point if you ever come back. It'd be a great place to take your wife.
Oh, I'm not coming back. I hate it here.
No.
I'm only kidding. It was beautiful. It's really nice. The hotel's perfect. It just seems like, there's no hustle or whatever, like in the big city. It's just relaxing.
Yeah. Where are you currently located? New York?
Jersey.
Okay.
But I live right central, about an hour from New York.
Gotcha.
I have a amazing house with property, pool, gym in the basement. I mean, it's like a real life.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave. I go on the road. I come home. Like when I was single, between my marriages, 3-4 nights a week, I go into New York, hang at the clubs, do spots.
Yep.
Comedy Cellar, Boston Comedy Club, Caroline's back then. And I would do spots, hang out with my friends to 3-4 in the morning. We had a great crew.
Sure.
Patrice O'Neill, Bill Burr, Kevin Hart, Keith Robinson, Colin Quinn, Jim Norton, all major
legends,
major comics. And I hung out with the best comics.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And which made you a better comic. You hang out with winners, you eventually become a winner.
Sure.
They say that in recovery, hang out with the winners.
Yeah, they do.
And, I would go in. But then as you get older, I have a great house. I go on the road, do, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Fridays, whatever, fly in, fly. I don't want to go to this. I got to go to the city Thursday night and do something. I don't want to.
Yeah, it's becoming a chore.
It interferes with I want to go play golf. I want to be home, work out,
Well, you've had a long career and successful career, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you ever think you're going to hang it up, or you still think you'll do a couple of shows a year at the very least ever?
Oh, comics don't retire.
I didn't think so.
I mean, it's not, how hard is it to do what I do? The hardest part is the traveling.
Yeah.
It's not hard. I look forward. I come, I love working on stage. I love coming up with new material. Mm-hmm. I have 7 albums. Eventually I'll make an 8th album.
Yeah.
Which is that's a lot of albums for,
I agree.
And none of them are good, but still
8 of them eventually.
I'll work on the 8th.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years, 2 or 3 years since I put one out. And I got a little lazy over, I guess after the pandemic, and I'm going, what do I want to do? Do I want to do an album of jokes or material, or do more of a one-man show type album about my life, which is hard to do in a comedy club.
Yeah.
Is to get that down, is to sit there and tell stories.
Well, did you see what Mike Tyson did?
I never saw
that
show,
Broadway the show. Like, I saw snippets of it. I don't think I ever watched the whole thing, but he basically did a whole reenactment of his life. I thought that would be something kind of cool that you might do.
It is cool, but see, the difference is he was never a comic, so he didn't go to comedy clubs to work that out.
Sure.
I don't know where he worked it out, small theaters, because he didn't just start going on tour doing that.
No.
So, I'm in comedy clubs, I could do a story and be, here and there. And there's comics that do stories, but they're known for, that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I do some stories. I do, I mix it. I try to be as personal as I can on stage, because the more personal you are, the more original you are.
I was going to say your improv too is impeccable.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So that's I don't want to call it crowd work because it's getting a bad kind of connotation, but you do very well off the cusp.
Well, years ago, my wife said, you got to do a crowd work album or DVD or something. It's too easy.
Too easy.
And also crowd work too. You can't plan it. You can't go up there saying, I'm going to do crowd work. It just doesn't flow when you're forced to do it. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Natural.
Well, that's kind of how I feel that we do this, right? Which is really just a conversation between a couple of people. Like we didn't script anything. We would never do that. It's better because I'm interested in our guest and the fact that you are in recovery. I mean, that's what brought you here to the table. We're huge fans of yours. You've had this incredible career. The way I see it is why wouldn't we want you on the show? I mean, you're a great example of somebody in recovery. I mean,
thank you.
All that stuff.
I mean, I'd go on the road, used to do a lot of morning radio.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst was when they go, give us topics, send in 5 topics or something. No, do some research, be a host. You
got to feel the vibe.
Yeah. I've done so many interviews where they have no clue who they're interviewing. They just want to, they read a couple things. Anyhow, I was just working a club and the advertisement was Last Comic Standing, and I called them furious. I go, that was 25 years ago. Do some research.
Yeah.
That was almost 25 years or 23 years ago.
Wow.
Do some research. I've done a couple things since then.
Yeah.
But people are lazy. People are lazy. Clubs are getting lazy. Clubs are depending on comics to get the people in the door.
Yep.
On social media. I'm doing a club this weekend. It's new. It's a new club in a casino. It's the second week. First of all, you don't open a club in the summer. It's one of the worst times of the year on the East Coast. You don't. Or the Midwest. In the Midwest, nobody's around. They just take off and go to the lake.
Yeah.
They have 2 weeks of nice weather.
Right, but everybody's traveling.
Yeah, they're traveling. And so the guy today goes, can you get on radio? I go, no. I go, I can't. I'm out of town. Get people in your room. And it's a new world because, it's more about quantity, not quality.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time when you'd work clubs and you'd build up a following because you were good.
Mm-hmm.
Now they just, I get it. You got to make money. Filling the seats pays the bills. But talent to me always rises above, numbers.
Well, I think you see that in longevity of career too, right?
Yes.
And that's basically how you can separate the good from the bad is how long have they been around? Is it a flash in the pan comic that said a couple of things that were controversial, maybe got a little attention, maybe had a viral moment on social media, but really not that great they lose steam quick. But the fact that you've had 30 years plus
41.
Jesus. So maybe I need to do my homework.
Well, no, 30's close.
Yeah, I knew it was long. I just, I don't know. I also don't want to offend you in case you're age sensitive or something.
Oh, I don't care. I'm old. I'm done.
That was my joke. That was my attempt.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I mean, people back home are laughing right now who are listening. They're going, oh, he got him.
You got him. You made fun of my head, man. I'm coming for you.
No, I like your head.
This segment of the Pole Podcast is brought to you by Creekside Recovery.
everything I do now, I consider pretty much a bonus because I've done everything, pretty much everything. So if I don't work a weekend, which if I'm not on the road, I'll work New York on a weekend.
Nice.
At least a Saturday. I'll call in and do a weekend.
You probably get bored easily, no?
Yeah. Look what I'm wearing. I buy shit that just fills an empty hole. I get bored. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that too, right? Because I want to get into the recovery aspect of everything, which is important for me. That's the reason why we exist. That's what we're trying to, show people is that like, we're not a glum lot, and we certainly, life doesn't end when we stop substances. But, if you could give us a little bit of background and like, because I honestly don't know this part of your story. And so I'm super intrigued.
Well, I would come home from school, 4th grade. I was, I guess, 9 years old. And I would listen to this comedy album, this guy, Von Meter. He did the impression of the Kennedys.
Okay.
President Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy. And the album was called The First Family. The biggest comic at the time. Million album seller. I mean, just the biggest, the funny. And I would come home and I would sit and laugh. And his career, once the Kennedys were assassinated, was done. He died a full
one-trick pony?
Well, because nobody wanted to be reminded of the Kennedys.
Ooh.
Nobody wanted to go see him anymore because after President Kennedy was assassinated.
And that's how he's known.
I mean, it really hit the country. He was a really beloved president. Mm-hmm. People loved John F. Kennedy. Mm-hmm. So that guy's career was done. He went true, like from Park Avenue to Park Bench, died a full-blown alcoholic.
Oh, wow.
But I would come home from school and listen to him, and later on in life, I was just covering the pain of my parents' divorce. Mm-hmm. I would laugh. I wasn't 9 years old. Where's my dad? You know what I mean? Where the fuck is he? Why we moved from place to place? Why do I come home from school in 4th grade and no one's there? Younger brother, older sister. And so my life became, we eventually would move above my grandparents. They owned a multifamily house, 3 floors. So my mom, my brother, my sister, and myself lived on the 2nd floor for free. Mm-hmm. Shit, my mom had no money.
Yeah,
she was a secretary.
That worked out.
Secretary. My mom and sister shared a room, and my brother and I shared a room. And I started hanging, like the back of my house, the side street was all urban. Poorer families, mm-hmm. broken homes. And the front of my house was nice, big houses, families, it seemed. And I always felt in between, never connected. A little better than them, but not as good as them.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would hang on the side of my house because I was drawn to dysfunction. Some were broken homes, some were kids that were having kids and mm-hmm. drinking and partying. So you grow up, you're playing sports, you're doing whatever. Then eventually, I remember the first night I drank. My friend Rudy, his brother Pee-wee gave us Mad Dog.
Oh, 2020.
Mad Dog 2020. And I was so sick the next day. I don't even know how much I drank.
Probably a full one.
I don't know. Well, I don't think he would give us the whole bottle unless he had 2. But
yeah. So
I'm hanging in school now with the screwed up kids, the partiers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We'd hang out 9th grade. I guess at 9th grade is when it really started for me. My friends, we'd smoke pot, go to concerts, do acid, do whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was a party throughout high school.
Sure.
We'd go to parties on the weekend. I mean, big house parties. And you had to have something. 11th grade, I raised my hand to go to the bathroom, and I really never came back. I just left. I said, enough of this.
Yeah.
I would go to school for the lunch periods, 3 lunch periods, and I would hang with different kids every lunch period.
Yeah.
Then I would hang by the heater, smoke pot, sell pot. And eventually, you know, all my friends graduated my age. And I go, let me go back to next year and get enough credits. And I went and I go, fuck, I can't do this. So, you know, it gives me anxiety when I talk about this stuff because you're really talking about your life. At 21, I started a business. My grandfather was a contractor. Mm-hmm. So I started my own painting business. And I had the biggest painting business in town. I had, at 21, 22, 7, 8 guys working for me.
Wow.
And this is over 40 years ago. And I'm paying them like $7, $8 an hour. So I'm paying, say, $60 an hour in wages. That's a big business.
The equivalent of, yeah.
For a 22-year-old.
Sure.
Doing major Victorian houses. We'd go in, set up ladders around the house. I had all the ladders. Scrape the house, power wash it, prime it, paint it. Boom. Knocking fucking the biggest, beautiful funeral homes, Victorian homes. And now I'm really partying. We're going out.
Sure, you got some money in your pocket.
Got some money. We go, now this is the bar scene. This is the bar scene. So we're partying like crazy. My roommates, you know, whatever. And then eventually the business folded. I just, you know, I don't know how or why, because I was partying too much.
Sure.
You know, then I did all different things, canvas sales out of a van, always hustling, bouncing from house to house, apartment to apartment, getting kicked out, whatever. You know, I must have lived in 15 places. Different roommates, all friends, whatever, or
Sure.
rented a room from somebody. I had the best, you know, I knew how to talk. I met this guy, you know, and we were doing coke. And I go, I got to try, I want to do this comedy thing. And I remember I went with some band one night. I saw this, I used to go watch comics. I go, I got to do this. And I remember the first time I went on stage, I saw this one guy, Lenny Schultz, and he did props. And I go, that looks easy. I just bought a bunch of toys or whatever, and it was horrible. Horrible. But then I did it again and again. And so now I'm getting into comedy. Somehow, no more props. I'm right. You know, this one comic who did 15 Johnny Carsons, he said, you can't do props. His name was David Say. Very funny guy. And I started writing jokes or material and hosting. And I would book. I found one-nighters. And I would go in and I say, hey, do you want to do a comedy night here? And
oh, nice. So you were making your own venues.
So I would go in, say on a Tuesday, Wednesday, do comedy night. There was one place, the Kathy's. So I would hire comics and I would host. So now I'm getting stage time and making a little extra money. And there was, say, I was doing this in Jersey. There's a guy in Connecticut doing it. So I would let him work my room if I worked his room.
That's right.
So now I'm getting work in other places, you know, partying. In New York, comics are knowing me because I'm hiring them. You know, I'm hiring the best comics to do these one-nighters. These comics, you know, were making $100 to headliners back then. They would go to Jersey. So I'm starting to work. Now I meet this other comic. Now I worked my way into Freebase.
Oh, wow.
Into Freebase. I don't know. I guess my cousin was doing it. And I, you know, started doing it with them. And a couple of us did it. Some said, fuck this, you know.
Sure.
And I'm doing comedy. And now I'm getting work. Now there's crack in Harlem, Spanish Harlem. And I hook up with this comic who's a heroin addict. And we're doing gigs. You know, he's a headliner. I'm just an opener.
Sure.
And he's taking me around. I host. He headlines. We find crack and heroin in New York. I mean, he was a fucking just a horrible heroin addict, thief, whatever.
Sure. In his addiction funny. At the very least, right?
Yeah. He was funny, though. And he would take me, and I would do gigs. And that lasted for like 2 years. But doing freebase, I say it was crack up in Harlem.
Yeah.
But I like saying freebase better. It sounds more sophisticated.
It's more refined.
It sounds nicer.
Does.
He was just doing freebase.
Uh-huh.
You're doing, and I mean, we're going on car accidents, make guns held to your head. I'm not lying. We'd go up to places and
wild shit,
pulling guns out, and none of it fazed me. One night we're getting high, and me and him, he's a heroin. We go down to the Lower East Side. He cops heroin. I go up to Spanish Harlem, crack. And then we're hanging with this Puerto Rican dude up there, and we have no money. He goes, I got a shotgun at home. Let's go rob. And we were this close to go and kicking the door in with a shot. But those guys all had lookouts. They all had,
Mm-hmm. That's what they did.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't happening. We would have died.
Yeah.
We would have got shot. I was in major car accidents and still that night. I mean, just a whole nightmare of freebase.
Well, I think that's a really good example in general about like what's happening when somebody's in their addiction, right? At that point, you're physically probably and mentally dependent on this stuff, right?
Well, freebase, there's no physical addiction, but it's all obsession, compulsion, and mental.
Right.
Which any addiction, well, not any, when you go get clean or sober, any physical addiction, is out of your body in 1, 2, 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. You're physically not dependent on it anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't know with heroin how long the withdrawal is. I don't know with barbiturates how long, but there's no physical withdrawal from cocaine. So what everybody's dealing with is obsession and compulsion.
The mind.
Obsession and compulsion. And
arguably worse.
Yes, because you're all day, and I do know this. I do know this is a fact. If you get clean or if you get sober, at some point, the obsession and compulsion will be lifted from anybody. Some, it might take a week. Some, it might take a month. But it'll be gone as long as you don't pick up a day at a time.
Yeah.
A day at a time. I know that as your life might not get better. It might get worse. It might be great. It's life on life's terms, whatever. But you will not be obsessed to get high.
You won't be a slave to something.
Yes.
Yeah. That's probably the worst part about addiction that I think people don't understand is that like you do lose the power of choice in it. You will absolutely lose the power of choice on whether you're doing that drug or not. And like you said, it took you to places where you weren't even thinking things were a big deal, whether it's a car accident or whether it's grabbing a pump to maybe go get some cash to get more drugs. It all didn't register with you because you're in the middle of it.
In the quiet hills of Marin County, there's a place where healing begins. A place where alcohol or drugs no longer control your life. At Live Oaks Wellness, we offer compassionate, client-centered care for those struggling with addiction. Our licensed drug and alcohol detox and residential programs are designed to help you take the first step toward recovery with a team that truly understands the journey. You don't have to walk this path alone. At Live Oaks, we're here to help you rebuild, restore, and reclaim your life. Take the first step today. Live Oaks Wellness. Healing starts here.
First of all, I would somehow end up with no money. I would get on the train back to Jersey with no money, and I would dodge the conductor till I got to my town, just to get home. Mm-hmm. One night I was in New York and no money. It was one of the lowest points of my life. And I was in this, I had $1 left and draft beers were 40 cents at this place. So I went in to get 2 draft beers. This girl, I don't remember. She goes, "Oh, can I buy you a drink?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "But you got to walk up and get it." And she handed me $20 to walk to the bar. And I ran out the door and just ran with her $20.
Now that's smart.
But she's sitting there going, I was going to buy this guy a drink. And, I didn't care about picking up a girl.
It's a sleazeball move. I'm just saying.
And I just ran and went and bought 2 more vials. you know.
I was just going to say there's better things to spend the money on than a train, right? Like, let's be honest. Like, that's how your brain was working, right?
Well, not only that, I would go in, spend all my money, but I would stand by the entrance to New York by the tunnel, and I would see my friends drive in, and I would stop them and hop in the car because I knew they were coming in too.
Interesting.
I knew they were coming. There was times I would stand as they came in through the Lincoln Tunnel, and I would see my friend Rich, and
stop them and jump in. Yeah.
Jump in and do some of theirs. Anyhow, it was from partying, good times, fun after high school, you know, house parties. The fun became not fun. It became, you know, lie and steal, whatever I could do to get high. So now I'm in comedy. I put myself in rehab. Like I tried. I remember one night I smoked probably an eighth. And I went up to this rehab, you know, major famous rehab back then, Fair Oaks in New Jersey.
Okay.
And I sat in the way and someone came to me. I go, they go, do you have insurance? I go, no. And they go, well, there's nothing we could do. And by then I was coming down. And I just walked down and said, fuck it, you know. So I was probably out there another year. And then I said, I can't do this anymore. And I found this rehab, a state rehab, New Hope Foundation. It was in Marlboro, New Jersey. And somehow I lied to get in. And I got in and I did 5-day detox. And I remember when I went downstairs for 28-day program, Sheila was the head. I remember my counselor was John, there was Sheila,
that's amazing.
Keith.
Because this is a long time ago.
40 years ago.
Yeah.
Keith was a tough guy. See, there was the counselors that were ex-drug addicts, and then there was the counselors that went to school to become counselors.
Yeah.
And I always clung by the ex-drug addicts.
You have to.
It's a different type of recovery counseling.
Yeah. Well, I think it holds more depth and weight when you know that somebody's been where you've been.
Oh, easily. Easily. So Sheila was the head of and after like a week or 2, I don't know, I go, look, I lied to get in here. She goes, we don't care, you're here. Mm-hmm. You know, that's a rehab that wants to get people better.
I think about this, though. Imagine you being able to tell the truth in that moment, because you probably didn't tell the truth a lot back then. If you were anything like me, you didn't tell the truth very often. And so for you to get into what something about Sheila, apparently, right?
Well, they were all so nice.
Yeah.
And they go, look, they would throw you out. They didn't want to waste a bed. Mm-hmm. Beds were precious back then.
Sounds like it. There wasn't a lot of treatment back then.
They were precious, especially in a place that the state would help you get, you know, this was different back then. Mm-hmm. You know, this wasn't, year program, those therapeutic rehabs they used to have, mm-hmm. where they would break you down and build you up. And they would say you could drink, but you can't shoot heroin. There was places like that back in the day.
Wild.
You know, therapeutic rehabs, I think they were called. So this rehab, I remember, though, they did tell me I had to quit comedy for a year. I think I did it the night I got out. And the reason is because I completely surrendered. People go in half, maybe I'm not, maybe. If you walk into a meeting, you got a problem. 9 out of 10 times. People don't trip into meetings or into rehab.
No. Nobody's like looking forward to it, or
it's not by accident.
Ended up there, on the wings of victory.
Yeah. So, denial and rationalization. Yeah, you have that. Listen, I'm addicted to a lot of things still. Mm-hmm. I gamble too much, lottery, whatever. Mm-hmm. I know one thing.
You're not losing your house over it.
I can rationalize it. I'm not out of control. I don't do, I'm sober. I know I can't get high because I'll die. I have money now. I didn't have money back then.
Yeah.
So I go to this rehab and I finish. it's the first thing I really ever finished in my life. You know what I mean?
That's right, because no school. You didn't finish school.
School.
Yeah.
I'd build models and I would break them on the ground.
Your first job, the paint job.
All my jobs. I just never fucking I would walk out. I'd quit. Whatever. And it was a good sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
To finish. You know, because I was in that rehab. I saw people come and go, get kicked out. You know, I had an argument with somebody there or whatever. He came at me and they kicked him out.
But you had surrendered.
Completely surrendered. I can't remember a time in 39 years that I felt like getting high.
That's amazing.
I mean, I have, like I said, I always gambled. It's not out of control gambling. I mean, it is obsession to go play lotteries or numbers. I've worked Vegas for a week and didn't play. So it's not like compulsive, but it's something. Amazon fills a hole. DraftKings, laying in bed playing slot machines. They all fill holes.
Hummingbird feeders.
Don't know. I love my bird feeders.
I know. Let's talk about that. How many do you have now?
Bird feeders? 1, 2, 5.
And they have cameras.
No, one has cameras.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I sit in breakfast, have my coffee, and had a bird feeder watch. It's very relaxing.
I believe it.
Then I'm thinking, well, it would be 5 times more relaxing to have 5 of them.
It makes sense. If one's good, then 5 must be better.
It's great. What are you kidding me? It's the fucking addictive personality.
So you still have it, and you have it.
Well, of course I have it. I don't have one pair of sneakers. I have 40 to 50 pairs of Nikes.
Yep.
And also, too, a lot of it goes back to growing up poor, and I couldn't have anything. If I wanted new sneakers, I had to rip my old ones.
I was going to say they had to have holes. You had to, your toe had to be sticking out.
Yeah, I had to rip them. And I look back, I started a 4-step now. We'll get into that shit in a few. But my mom had no money. She's a single mom with 3 kids, working as a secretary.
It's incredible.
Secretary,
That's what she was able to accomplish, right? I mean, keeping the lights on in general, just hard.
Yeah, it's fucking, phone bill, whatever. She had it tough, man. And so now, if I get my kid, look, my daughter turned 17, I bought her a new car. No one bought me a fucking car.
Nope, I didn't get one.
I didn't get a car, but my kid was great in school. She did everything. She's not a fuck up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I spoiled all my kids, but my older daughters, hard workers, have their own kids, beautiful houses. They didn't grow up alcoholics or drug addicts.
That's amazing.
I used to take them to meetings when they were young. I remember getting kicked out of a meeting. I think they were like 6 and 4 or 5 and they're
because of the disruption.
Yeah, we're in a meeting and they have toys in the back.
Sure.
It was in a church that had probably a daycare, and they're fucking all over the place. I go, hey, listen, man. I remember the guy goes, how much time do you got? I go, 6 years. They go, you're going to have to take them and leave. Right? I've been kicked out of porn booths, video places,
That's
clubs.
the one place you don't expect to get kicked out.
I got kicked out of a fucking
meeting.
And so my kids, I would take them. There was one meeting I would take them to. They had like somebody watch all the kids there.
Yeah.
And they would play in a room and stuff. So they grew up. They've never seen me high or drunk.
That's amazing.
They've never seen that. My 7-year-old definitely hasn't. But my 35-year-old, my 33-year-old, my ex-wife, my wife, my wife, we argue sometimes. Oh, you don't change. I go, you don't know me. You don't know me.
This is change.
This is from where I'm from.
Yeah.
And I do a bit on stage. I remember, my life is a big difference. And, and she would come and go, you didn't fold the laundry. And I also didn't pawn your diamond necklace. All right. So relax. You see these TVs here? They're still here. So, I'm out of rehab. I'm starting to do comedy. Now I'm getting work. And I'm starting to grow in comedy.
That's awesome.
Because I remember.
You're almost you're the majority of your career, at least from a fame standpoint, has been sober.
Oh yeah, I've been.
So do you credit some of that to being sober?
I credit everything in my life to being
there
sober.
It is.
Everything I have is because I'm sober.
I love that.
There's nothing. Okay, I have 3 daughters and 3 grandkids right now, and the 4th one on the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't do it, but
I know.
So I got.
I hope not.
Oh, gross! Why would I even say I didn't do it? That's obvious. So the thing is, and this is bare fact. The reason I'm sober. I'm part of the reason there's 6 other people on this planet right now.
Boom.
There's 3 daughters, 3
generations.
I'm part of this. And God works in mysterious ways, or your higher power. Because my first wife, when she was pregnant, had a miscarriage. Then gets re-pregnant, and I have my 2 daughters, older daughters. If she never had that miscarriage, I wouldn't have the 2 daughters I have now. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I'm saying?
Sure.
The cycle. Because she wouldn't have got pregnant again 4 months later. I would have had maybe a son, maybe whatever. But everything works in mysterious ways.
Right.
They work the way they're supposed to work. So everything in life, my career, mainly my family, then my career, then materialistic bullshit.
Yep.
It's because I don't drink or get high a day at a time.
Yeah.
Because if I get high, I die. There's no 2 ways about it. I go to jail or die. There's no fucking coming back for me.
Right.
I see people with time and go back out. I go, how did you come back? And so my career, everything is because I'm sober or clean, whatever you want to say. And in this business, and I help people. Like for years on and off, I would stop going to meetings. Then always my good friends, comics, are in recovery. Always. I always stay connected. But there were times I probably didn't go to a meeting for who knows how long. Mm-hmm. But during the pandemic, I started going back. I'm doing Zoom meetings and whatever.
That's been helpful, huh?
Yeah. So now I do probably since then, probably 3 a week.
Wow. Good
3
for
meetings
you.
a week. I try to go Monday and Tuesday night in person, and we do a Wednesday morning meeting. And I'll always put my hand out.
Yeah.
I'll always try to carry the message, just so many things I've done wrong or that I'm working on. Mm-hmm. And, I kind of have a sponsor. We play golf together, but I have people I can talk to about stuff.
I get that.
You know what I mean? He's him and some other comics, but he's not a comic, but he's more of an actor. And we play golf and we talk, and we talked about the 4-step. I started writing, and
pen to paper is a good thing. It's powerful.
It's hard. It's hard to find. And throughout 39 years, I don't know if I've written all the 12 steps out. I know I pretty much do them in life. I know when I'm wrong, I promptly admit it, except to my wife. But,
that one gets to stew for a couple of days. Yeah.
I apologize a lot.
Yeah.
I try, not as much. I don't have to make amends in life anymore because I don't do stuff really where I have to make amends.
That's
you know
great.
what I mean? If any amends, it's only to my wife.
Yeah.
First,
which ends up being a living amends of sorts, right?
Yeah.
Where you do, I don't think, she says you never change, right? But the fact of the matter is sometimes is if you're not getting worse, sometimes that's still a good thing. And I get it. We shouldn't be patted on the back for doing the things we're supposed to do.
That's what she said.
Yeah. You're going to break your arm patting yourself on the back. Everybody says that. I somewhat disagree a little bit, only because I know for a fact for me how hard it is not to be the old person.
Oh,
right? And like, if you saw that person, you would never even talk to me.
Not at all.
Right?
What, are you kidding me? You would run for the hills. You know, what was I going to say? She said, she says you can't pat yourself on the back for, you're right. She said exactly that. You want to give yourself kudos for not doing drugs? You don't know you don't know. You know, they just don't know. They don't get it.
Yeah.
You know.
Or even some of the restraint from pen and tongue that you probably have had, right?
Well,
we're not perfect.
Listen, when I went through a divorce from my ex-wife, I said things, but I made amends to her. Mm-hmm. We're good friends throughout, whatever. I was on stage the other night, and I called every now and then I'll call my wife or kids from the stage, and they're funny. I couldn't get anybody on the phone, so I called my ex-wife. I go, "Do you miss me?" Right? She was laying in bed with her husband. I go, "Do you miss me a little?" She goes, "No." Right.
Did you have to explain that one later?
No. She goes, "Are you on stage?" I go, "Yeah."
That's cool that you have that relationship, though. So, and that's a testament to who you are as a person with the steps in your life, right? Is that like you can have a relationship with your ex-wife and have her husband laying with her in the next bed and not know it's not threatening in any way. We
used to go to my daughter's basketball games. Her and him would sit there, and me and Bonnie. And I used to go to. She used to live in my town. I moved to that town to be close to my kids. Mm-hmm. I moved to that town, and she ended up moving down south, North Carolina. But I always look, I saw how my parents were, and we became fucked up kids. Me, my brother, and sister. Just father nowhere to be found, didn't send child support. His second marriage, he didn't even tell us he was getting married on his second marriage. That's on my resentment list.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah, third marriage, I was writing down resentments last night, and I really have none towards my mom. Two things. One, I remember as kids, my mom would take us to my grandparents on my father's side, knock on the door and say, "Take them, I can't handle them." Mm. But, and then as a kid, you're abandoned. You feel abandoned.
Sure.
But you look back, she was a single mom with 3 kids, no money.
Wild kids, it sounds like,
yes,
right?
Yeah. So, I mean, we were younger then too, but we were fucked. But still, she had no life. And she was like, "Take them. I want to go out. I want to be a fucking," you know what I mean?
Put her hair down.
But my dad nowhere to be found. And I did, I remember doing a TV show, and I go to my dad, they need a picture of me as a child growing up. They on the TV show, they would put then and now.
Yep.
And I go through his photo album. He had like 2 pictures of me. I have hundreds
of your kids,
hundreds, maybe thousands,
yeah,
boxes. And I remember as my kids were growing up, I would take pictures and make all these albums. And I swear to God, I go, someday we'll just sit around looking at, and we've done it. Mm-hmm. They've come over.
That's the best.
And they went through the photo albums.
Holidays, or at least my family does.
Photo albums. Yeah.
Sure.
Now my youngest daughter, I don't have photo album. it's all on the phone with her. Mm-hmm. I used to take the pictures but now.
No more developing.
No more developing. So I did the exact opposite as my dad. I broke the chain of dysfunction.
There it is.
And I broke the chain. So I would, there were times in my career I had a lot of heat. I could have moved to L.A. Mm-hmm. I'm not leaving my fucking kids.
Good for you. So
I would watch my daughters in the day. My ex-wife would go to work. Then either, pick them up, drop them off. She would take them at nights, and I go do comedy. I remember when they went off to school, both of them full time. I had major anxiety at 21 when I was getting high. 21, I didn't know. I was hospitalized. I didn't know what anxiety was back then. They just threw you on Thorazine, Haldol. So I suffered from Thorazine shuffle.
Yeah.
So I suffered from generalized anxiety, depression, and it slowly went away. I got a little anxiety now. It comes and goes. But when I was 40, I had it really bad when my kids went off to school.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm living in this fucking apartment, bouncing off of walls all day because I don't have them. Mm-hmm. And I was in therapy. He was great, this therapist. One, he was in recovery.
And probably kids of his own?
I don't remember, but I'm sure. But I could talk to him about anything. I did like my fifth step with him.
Nice.
Basically. And he was in recovery. And then eventually, I was on anxiety medicine, which I weaned off. I'm on it now when I need it, but I barely need it. Mm-hmm. But in my head, I'll usually keep one or two in my pocket in case of emergency.
Always.
But I barely do it.
What does that look like for you, though? Is it like a panic attack? Or like short of breath? Or is it like...
No, at 40...
Walls closing in?
No, at 40, the anxiety turned into panic attacks.
Yeah.
Now it's anxiety and it passes. Like I'll get some anxiety, like we're going to lose our health insurance in September. It runs out. So I'll put my wife and daughter on Cobra or whatever and pay for it. Mm-hmm. But I'm signing up for Medicare, which it gives me the paperwork and all the shit dealing with it. I printed it out and I'm like, I can't get past what's your Medicare number. I don't fucking know. Now I got to call them again when I get home tomorrow. So like I get it like through tax season, all the shit, because I do everything.
Yeah.
Then I send it to my accountant.
Sure.
And I just go, look, be honest. I'm honest. I'm not going to jail.
That's a cool thing, right?
I tell her, be honest. Do what you can do without being dishonest.
What a concept. I mean, even circling back to that one moment in your treatment, right, where you had to tell on yourself that you lied to get in, right? That's a huge pivotal moment in your life where like you probably came, because it feels good to not hide anything. We don't talk about that enough, right?
Yeah.
The sheer honesty of it. The fact that you can walk down the street, not worry about somebody tapping you on the shoulder or like saying like, or you took advantage of me or anything like that. It's a very, very clean way. I believe that that's how the obsession can become relieved at some point, right? Is the fact that like you get this clarity beyond, it's almost like, I don't want to say you're figuring out life, right? Because nobody does, but
I'm not looking over my shoulders.
Right,
I haven't looked over my shoulders in 39 years. I haven't, worried about, oh shit, I owe them money or I fucked this person over. I don't worry about anything.
None of that.
I walked into a store a couple of weeks or maybe a month ago, and there was $100 on the ground. I picked it up and go, somebody dropped this. That was my first, is to hand it back to the store.
What a change, right?
Let me tell you something. That would have been in my pocket. That would have been, oh, fuck, I just won $100. But and I'm not saying I'm an angel, that person, if they come back, that $100 could have fed their kids or their family or whatever.
I just appreciate the fact that you're telling these stories and there's such juxtaposition to these things. I keep wanting to go back. You took that girl's $20 that was going to buy you a drink, and now you pick up $100 bills and give them, saying that's not mine.
No,
somebody dropped this.
Well, listen. I'm believe me. I'm not trying to be Mr. Saint. It's just who I am. I've worked clubs where they pay me too much, and I go, oh, it's too much, And I say,
that's not my going rate.
Well, no, because I don't want. My wife doesn't believe it. She goes, "Do you believe in God?" I go, "I believe in a power, but I definitely believe in karma." She goes, "That's bullshit. What about the kids that die? They don't believe in karma." I go, "Look, it's just for me.
Yeah.
I know." And you learn this in recovery, and you've heard this, but I don't always know when I'm doing something right, but I always know when I'm doing something wrong. Always. It's in there. You're going, what the fuck are you doing this for? Yeah. Look, she's hot, but anyhow, so.
I know where you're going with that.
No, but anything. So I try. Look, I got to live with myself. Mm-hmm. I got to live with, So I'm not going to do, like there's. Okay, there's probably more than one, but there's one comic I despise. I don't like him. I don't like his views on what he's posting, this and that. And this club owner the other night goes, how is this dude? I go, to be truthful, I don't like him, but he's funny. Mm-hmm. I would never take work out of somebody's mouth because of my personal opinion.
Right.
I go, he's very funny. I don't like him. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. I wouldn't say, he stinks.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't. He's good. I just don't agree with things he says. So, it's, and also too, the club owner, look, don't put me in that position. Research, look at videos.
Yeah.
I'm not his manager.
I'm doing your job for you.
Yeah. I'm not his manager or agent or whatever. I mean, he's very funny. I don't like him. And that's as honest as I could be.
I mean, you could take somebody off the street and ask their opinion, right? I mean, at the end of the day, what's the difference? Like, I mean, he probably respects your opinion because it's, a little bit more educated than some of the others, right?
Yeah.
But, what does he expect you to do? Critique the guy? Like he's a...
No, I don't take work out of somebody's mouth. It's just.
We also are taught try not to like talk shit behind people's back too. It's like what's the motive there, right? Like
if he asked me his political views, I would talk about it.
Hell yeah.
But hold on, let me get this Nicorette gum moving.
There you go. The creative juice is flowing. Now, did you used to smoke or did you used to chew or do you
3 packs a day?
That a boy. What kind?
Marlboro.
Yep. Hell yeah.
I've been on Nicorette gum for 20 years, but nobody's getting secondhand gum.
No, not that I've heard of.
I'm going to die choking on it, falling asleep with it in my mouth. I got to stop doing it in bed.
I'm surprised you haven't switched to Zins yet. That seems to be a trend.
Someone gave me like 4 canisters of that.
Yeah.
I gave 2 away. I don't like it.
You like the chewing?
I just like putting it up there. I don't know. I'm addicted to nicotine, but I'm not smoking.
Yeah.
And nicotine isn't killing anybody.
No.
I don't know. I see people vaping and they never even smoked. They start off vaping.
Yeah,
I'm going, what the fuck?
That's because they have like blueberry pie flavored and shit.
Who on earth smokes strawberry shortcake? What the fuck? Listen, be a man. Smoke.
I vape occasionally.
But did you ever smoke?
I did.
Okay, well you smoked.
Yeah.
So you're still. You're not smoking anymore, are you?
No, sir.
Okay,
no cigarettes for me. I can't stand the smell. I can't. Yeah. I don't even like being around people that do it.
Me either. I look at people smoking.
I get nauseous.
I look at people smoking and go, do you not read or see, or are you that out of touch with? Nobody smokes anymore. Plus, I don't know. I think cigarettes in New York are like $20 a pack.
Easy.
$20.
Right. And you can't even do it on the sidewalk. You probably get a ticket or like everybody definitely gives you the bad face.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, everybody's hella mad, especially in New York. They probably want to tell you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember smoking in supermarkets, on planes. I mean, I'm an old fuck.
That means everywhere you went, it smelled like that.
I would
even meetings.
Oh yeah. I used to go to meetings. The place was filled with smoke.
Yeah.
Loved it.
You did? Well, back then maybe, right?
Because I smoked back then.
Sure.
When I quit 20 years ago, the smoking meetings were gone by then. Mm-hmm. Because I was 19 years into recovery. So I think.
Yeah, I think it went away in I want to say early 90s.
Yeah. Smoking on planes. I remember when you
That's wild.
When you couldn't smoke on a plane, I would still go in the bathroom and put a shower cap over the smoke detector, the hotel shower caps.
Pretty smart.
But everybody knew I was smoking. They could smell it. I didn't know you could, I come back to my seat and people could smell it on you. I didn't know that.
Yeah. They also could tell when you were high too. That's the other thing that was like a misconception, right? I used to think that I was the best drunk ever. Like nobody knows.
Yes.
Nobody even knows. Just have a couple of shots before work. No big deal.
I used to pretend when I was so high on coke, I would yawn to pretend like, I'm tired. Like they go, you can't be on coke if he's tired.
Yeah, no.
I would fake yawn. I would like that.
The fake yawn.
Yeah, fake yawn.
Other people don't think like that either, right? Like you wouldn't have that thought. It's not normal to have that thought where you're like, I got to play this off a little bit.
I got to fake
but yawn. I got it down. I also used to think I was a better driver when I was drinking.
Oh, God.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
That's scary.
I used to smoke freebase driving,
Yeah.
But I remember in New York, I one night I copped on like 158th, and I'm pulling up the road, and there's cops at the end that going, pull over. I said no, and I took off. And he took his billy club and smashed my taillight.
Wow.
I said, I'm not pulling over. You fucking
They didn't
nuts.
chase you?
No, they're on foot. They're sitting there just pulling over fucking schmucks from Jersey coming in to Spanish Harlem copping drugs.
Got it.
So I
But it cost you a taillight in addition to whatever you paid for the drugs.
it probably wasn't my car.
There you go.
I remember my friend one time gave me his car to go in and cop. I tried to sell his car. I got the battery out.
Wow.
I go, hey, your battery. I mean, I got the radio out. Did I say the battery?
Yeah.
The radio, I meant.
Yeah.
I got the radio out. I go, hey, look, I got the shit, but your radio got stolen when I went inside.
That's hilarious.
And I would have sold the car, but I didn't have the bill of sale.
No.
I would have said it got stolen.
Yeah, if they had the pink slip in the car in the glove compartment, it would have been gone.
It would have been.
Yeah, somebody stole it. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. It was a piece of shit.
Somehow I got
Pinto.
a brick of cocaine in my bag, though.
Yeah.
We are in the midst of the worst drug crisis in U.S. history.
The CDC has named fentanyl deadliest drug in the United States.
The drug is fentanyl.
My name is Jeremy, and I'm a recovering fentanyl addict. I've overdosed more times than I can count. I believe I was revived so I could carry the message to the addict that still suffers. Silence makes you complicit. You either recover loudly or you die quietly. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to help you save your own life.
Learn more at recoverordie.org.
I remember one day I played golf with this guy, and he was coming out home from school, and these dudes were robbing him, high school, and ripping him off.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees me walking by, and he's like, "Come help me," because I knew everybody. I could have stopped the problem, but I had a half a pound of pot in my jacket. I go, I got to get out of here. I kept walking. I
don't need this kind of attention.
I don't need this. And if I don't know them, they'll take that. I don't know. Look, I owe, like I said, everything to not picking up a drug or a drink a day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me to do that, I need to keep my memory green and hang out and be around other people that are clean and sober, other comics,
Yeah,
I
and
need to have.
we wouldn't break any of their anonymity, but you have a whole crew of sober comics, right?
Oh, I do, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I do. And I help if a comic wants to get cleaner, so I'll help them, as much as I can. You can't, you could only be an example and tell them what, I don't really. And see, this is the bad part. I don't sponsor anybody, which I could, but I'm never around.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
Everybody's got their own way of being a service, though, and I think that's the other thing is like out here in Marin County, a lot of there's a lot of like service commitments and things of that sort where people feel a part of the meeting, and then they almost ride you and tell you like if you're not doing enough sometimes, and I get that. It is the ultimate responsibility, and quite frankly, it's a debt I don't think I'll ever repay back.
Yes,
but I have my whole life to do it, and like sometimes it's like I have what I do, and I'm confident that I'm returning the favor regularly. And if that even means just putting positive into the stream of life, then that's just what I'm doing. And like, if people are going to judge me on the amount of stuff that I'm doing, it's like, whatever, man. That actually tells me more about them than anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, I speak when I'm asked at a meeting, I share.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you have an incredible platform. I mean, look at what you're doing here. This is service, right?
Yeah, on stage I talk about. I don't talk about
the program.
I can say 12 steps. I don't break a tradition. Right. I don't say AA or NA. I do a bit. The arrogance. I go. Maybe God kept me alive because I'm on stage to carry the message. I go. It's pretty fucking arrogant. Kept me alive yet assassinated John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy, Malcolm.
Right.
Kept me alive to talk to 40 fucking people. But, who knows? Who knows the plan, the big scheme of things? No one knows the big scheme of things. I know the plan. The plan was to have these kids and grandkids and see what they do later in life. Or to talk about it on radio. Or I shot a special 7 years ago. It's finally on Amazon now. Finally.
Good.
It's called Rich Voss Anonymous. I shot it at an NA convention. Rich Voss Anonymous. My backdrop is, the opening is so fucking cool. My wife directed the opening.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
Rich Voss Anonymous. It's on, and listen, it's 7 years old. My manager, who I fired, finally got it on Amazon, you know.
Probably wants his job back.
No, I should have put it right in the beginning on YouTube, because we did a big roast years ago, one of the best roasts ever. And during the pandemic, we put it on YouTube for free, you know, and this special should have been on YouTube 7 years ago when I shot it, because a lot of the material still stands the test of time, because I'm talking about recovery.
Yeah.
Some of it.
That's
so
awesome.
It stands, you know, but I taped it at a 12-step at a NA convention. I didn't show the audience, obviously. Mm-hmm. It's the first time cameras were ever let in a convention.
Wow.
You know, and it was kind of cool. My backdrop, the setting, the stage, you know, I got the tables behind me, the coffee pots, donuts, all the sayings up on the wall.
Wow.
Chairs with books on them behind me. And the backdrop, you can see the trailer probably if you go. It's so fucking cool, the opening.
I would have Jesse pull it up on the TV, but we're not there yet.
What do you mean?
The capability-wise. Oh. We'll get there, though.
When I did Rogan, he could pull it up on his.
Yeah, so that's the thing. If you even mentioned my name in Joe Rogan, like, this is not that yet, but I mean, maybe one day we'll see. We certainly, the fact that you've been on Joe Rogan and then are willing to come on here, I mean, that's just amazing in itself. I mean,
I'll do any. You're
a legend.
No, I did please. I'm a fucking guy trying not to fucking pick up a drink a day at a time and
raise three kids.
And I don't have to raise them anymore. They're old. I'm still there for them now.
Well, you did.
I talk to them all the time. You know, that's success. And I've said this. Success is when your older kids want to hang out with you.
Yes.
That's success. When you're older kids. Not when they need you as young kids, but when older and they call and go, oh, can we come by? What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's like, what the and not because you're buddies and drinking together, just because they want to be with their dad.
That's crazy.
I don't have it, but no, they do. They call me all the time.
That's super cool. I mean, I love that's your definition of success, because a lot of people, relate success to, a society will have us look at monetary stuff, or it'll look at like job titles. Everybody's got to be a CEO or like a this or that. It doesn't really actually mean anything, and none of that is actually anything that you end up taking with you, legacy wise. Maybe you could argue that point, but like, honestly, I'd rather be known and have people at my funeral that like I touched in some way, shape or form and like had an impact in their life positively than to say I, founded the Apple computer.
Listen, I agree. You can't keep what you got unless you give it away in life. And in my career, like, I'm older and there's YouTube and TikTok and Instagram sensations. So it's harder to you get squeezed out in everything as you get older. I keep busy, but you do get squeezed out. But what I have, and this is an ego, I have major respect for my peers, which, club owners come and go and this and that, but and it's not ego, and it's something I'm very proud of, that I'm very well respected throughout the comedy community.
I believe that.
And it's, I guess, because I do the right things.
I was going to say, I could start to see, I'm getting an impression of that now. I could see why you would be that respected for sure.
I'm empty. I buy jewelry, but I only wear it on special occasions. So if you're watching this going, hey, we're going to rob them, it's always in the safety deposit box. Don't think about it. I'll put it on for this TV, but then it goes right back to the safety deposit box, and I put on the shitty Swiss Army watch, and I'm a
the
you
Casio,
know what it is,
the Casio or the
Swiss Army. It's
you were being serious.
Yeah,
okay,
it's not bad. It's
that's
nice
a great watch, isn't it?
It's a good watch. Oh yeah,
anything
it looks
Swiss.
fucking cool.
Yeah. This segment of the Pull Podcast is brought to you by Heartwood Home Detox.
It's so weird in life. I just consider myself just some blue collar dude. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm at a party, let's say, and on one side of the room are lawyers, doctors, rocket scientists, The other side is convicts, pimps.
Yeah.
Those are the more interesting people.
100%. I go to meetings out here. Marin County is a pretty affluent community.
Yeah.
And I grew up mostly in Concord, which is in the East Bay. And if you were to take a snapshot of the Concord Fellowship versus like what goes on out here, and don't get me wrong, there's the Alano Club and a few other places that like, have some of different people. But there's some meetings out here where that they have spreads that are better than my Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you go to Concord Fellowship and then you get the day old cookies, or the day old pastries from Safeway or something. It's like either way, I let the coffee's better at the other meetings. That's for sure. The coffee meeting is way, way stronger at the Concord Fellowship.
I went to a meeting last night. I haven't been in a meeting so long with so many young people that I saw last night. I mean, young in their 30s and 20s.
Sure.
When I started going to meetings, I mean, Monday night I used to go to was packed. Young kids. Fucking hot girls, and I was new, and we'd all hang out at the diner after it. It was so much fun. Now I go, it's a bunch of old curmudgeons, and I'm one of them. No,
you're the creepy old guy in the corner just trying to make a joke. And
I mean, it was a good meeting last night here. It was packed.
I mean, they have a Tuesday meeting that averages like 300 people out here.
No way.
I swear to God. Every Tuesday. It's called the CHIP meeting.
300 people at a meeting.
Easy.
And is it a speaker or discussion?
No, it's a speaker meeting.
3 speakers.
2. So you get this, usually somebody that is introducing somebody with like, more than 10 or 20 years. So they get, well-known speakers and people that can actually stand in front of a crowd and hold their own, essentially, right? That have a good story. I mean, 300 people would make an average person freeze up. You know what I mean? Like, I've spoken there, and it is intimidating, right? Being in front of 300 people at a podium is very intimidating.
Oh, I would love it.
I'll bet. I'll bet. Yeah, you probably be. It's right in your element.
300. I would be. The difference between that and comedy is that's real. Comedy is. I mean, there's a lot of real stuff in comedy, but that's real.
Yeah.
You can't. But also too, it's your higher power talking through you. You're up there saying.
Whatever. And you never know what you say that's going to end up impacting somebody.
Yeah.
That's the best part is everybody's always like, oh, I didn't do the share that I wanted and all this other stuff. But it's like, I guarantee you something you said landed with somebody.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. You spoke up, right? Or whatever it is.
It was a cool meeting last night, but 300 people. I haven't been to a meeting ever with that many people.
Well,
I've been at conventions.
You live in Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think the meetings out there are that big, no?
No, not 300. I mean, the old meeting I used to go to maybe had 50, 60. The clubhouse I used to go to maybe had that on a Saturday.
Yeah, they get some big, even men's meetings out here are super big.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get 80, 90, 100 men in a room on a Saturday morning at like 7 a.m.
But how do they pick a speaker for 300?
That's up to so they have a whole committee for that. No joke. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, you don't send a video. You don't.
No, it's not that. It's usually.
I think the old meeting down in L.A. you had to send videos. Clancy's meeting to speak.
The Pacific or
yeah. I mean, it's bad enough clubs telling me no, but no.
Yeah.
So how?
No, I guess they're called speaker seekers. So they actually have it's like a position. It's a position that, if it's somebody that usually goes to a lot of meetings and is a quote unquote connoisseur, for lack of a better expression, that goes around to different counties, that just enjoys good meetings and then hears people's stories and then asks them to come speak, and
but that's just their opinion.
That's true. I didn't say it hit every week. I'm
not saying it's wrong. Yeah. I'm just saying it's so weird that I guess with a 300 people room, you do have to have somebody that's not going to freeze up.
You would hope so.
But
again, that's the beautiful thing about it is I mean, we're not the way I see it is like, this is all somewhat of a construct. And like, going where you're supposed to go, doing what you're supposed to do allows you to be put in positions where people are put into your life for the right reasons, whether it's to teach you a lesson or to be a friend. It just doesn't matter. Like, they always say I'm in the action business, I'm not in the outcome business. So like, if I know I need to do something, I go and do it. And that's just what it is. And then I just believe that there's something bigger working in my life, and that like, if the person's supposed to bomb, maybe they're supposed to bomb.
I don't know how you can't really bomb.
That's what I said. And if you have 10 or 15 years of sobriety, then like the chances that you have something good to say are very high.
You can't really bomb
because you tell your truth.
Yeah, you just.
You know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah, I know.
There's some stories out there that'll like blow your mind.
There's convention speakers. I used to listen to tapes in my car of NA convention speakers. And there were some that were so powerful. I mean, they're speaking, some of them to 1,000 people. I lent the tapes to somebody. I never got them back. But then again, I don't have a cassette player in my car anymore. Also,
8-track.
Also, but they were circuit convention speakers.
Yeah, no, there's people that's a position.
Father Martin was his name. Father Martin.
Big speaker.
And I used to have his tapes. I used to listen to him.
You can get them on YouTube?
Yeah.
Jesse, pull that up. Just kidding.
No, but there was some, I think I was at World in NA in Baltimore. I was working in the city that week, or it was me. I don't know if it was World, but I would go hang out in the day at the convention and listen to some of the speakers. I mean, amazing speakers.
I want to say that's somewhat of the goal of this thing. I want people to know that like your life doesn't end when you stop substances, right?
No.
It just is beginning. And if anything, like, first of all, I didn't think it was possible for a guy like me to get sober. Second of all, once I finally did, I wanted to see why. And once you figure out whatever your why is, that's when the real cool shit starts to happen, right? Like, for instance, your comedy career, right? Like all of a sudden this thing just starts taking off.
It just gave me also a foundation in life where I became like a real human and citizen.
Mm-hmm. You weren't a leper anymore.
Yeah, it's living life on life terms. When I was active, I didn't have any life terms. My life terms were, how do I get high today? That's it. I didn't give a fuck about this, that. I didn't have responsibilities, pay rent if I had it. If not, fuck you.
Yep.
Phone bills, thousands, whatever.
I'll figure it out.
There was no...
As long as I could get high.
Yes, there was no responsibility. Mm-hmm. It was a day-to-day mission. I couldn't even imagine that now. I couldn't imagine. I look forward to go buying plants and hanging them in my screened in porch. I look forward to putting bird food in the bird feeders.
Yeah.
I look forward to doing my sidewalks over, which I did, in between. I look forward because I do it, I finish it, and I look at the finished product and go, I did that.
It's like a good example of like what our life is too. Like, so if you look backwards, it's sort of like whatever your driveway was. All of a sudden, like it's a finished product, right? Now all of a sudden we have something that we can actually like be proud of.
It's,
we can be proud of it.
Accomplishment. Accomplishments. If I fucking get rid of my old clothes and bring them to Goodwill, it's an accomplishment. I got rid of shit because I'm a fucking hoarder.
You and me both.
I got rid of it. You don't know what an accomplishment is. It's just when you have kids, house responsibilities, there's so many things you have to get done. Mm-hmm. So many things, with whatever, my daughter, I forgot this paper, bring it to school. I forgot this. I forgot my lunch, bring it to school. I'm in the middle of,
there's always something.
There's always something.
And that's why. And your youngest just went away to Europe, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I play golf as much as I can so I can get the fuck away.
Yeah, you could say I literally don't have access to my phone. I'm off the grid for 3-4 hours.
Or I can't leave. I mean, I'm on there's no escaping. So
I love that.
You know,
I'm going to have to try that.
My wife, she has a great career. Everything is great. You know, it's just personally, I always try to get ahead, mainly in my career. It's, you know, as an entertainer, you did this. Okay, you're doing clubs. You want to do theaters. You want to do it. You always want to, and which I've had a lot of that. You know, but the real thing in life is the real thing, because I know major comics. I mean, arenas, multimillionaires flying around in private. You know, and but the main thing is, I have enough. I already have it. I have enough. So everything's a bonus.
Yeah.
I don't need anything.
I've heard that. You know, it's like borrowed time. I've heard that one, right? That's a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on borrowed time. Like all of this is a bonus. I don't want to make it sound weird, but like we survived something pretty big, something that takes a lot of people out, including the people that we have on the walls here, whether it's Robin Williams or Anthony Bourdain or Chris Farley. Like these are all, you know, people that aren't with us anymore, and we still here. And there's got to be a reason for that.
That's it. I you know, now it's like health. My shoulder's fucked up. I think I have 2 hernias, but I don't take painkillers. I don't even take ibuprofen.
Interesting.
I get through it.
Any reason why?
Because eventually they'll stop working.
Oh.
You know, I mean, I do physical therapy for my shoulder. I'm going to the doctor. I go to the doctor every like 5-6 months. Take blood checkup, see how. I'm going Thursday.
Yeah, you got to make sure Grandpa's still around.
Yeah, and that's weird because they were over 4th of July weekend, all my kids and grandkids. Grandpa Rich. I'm like,
it's got such
what
a cool
the
ring
fuck?
to it.
I was a crack addict.
Yeah.
Grandpa Rich, you know, and
I'm sure you and your wife are the ultimate babysitters too, right? Or are they local? Are your kids local?
Local,
okay.
But they don't trust us.
Please explain that one.
No, well, because we work weekends.
Oh,
nights. But we said we'll take him anytime you need.
Sure.
You know, my one grandson, Aiden, is so cool. Like my daughter FaceTimes me with and my daughter Jessica, she married this black dude, so they have a beautiful Puerto Rican baby.
That's hilarious.
You know, he's so cool. Aiden's so cool. And
how old?
They're about 1 year and 4 months. Well, my 2 grandsons were born a week apart. And then my granddaughter's going to be 4.
So the cousins are all around the same age. It's going to be, in 10 years, you're going to be loving life.
Well, they come over. In the summer, we have a pool. They go into the pool. I have barbecue and stuff.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's pretty cool.
The Voss compound?
The Voss compound. That's what, I have everything. I have a sauna. I have archery. I have a weight room in
archery.
If I want to go shoot my compound ball. I have a weight room in the basement. I have golf nets by the shed. I have everything, a basketball set up. I don't have to leave.
No wonder you want to be home all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't shot basketball because of my shoulder. I have a torn rotator cuff. It's not going to heal, but I could build muscle around it or...
Better than going the surgery route or what?
Yeah, surgery's 5 to 9 month recovery, and it doesn't always work.
And you can't wipe your ass.
That's true. Why, you had shoulder surgery?
No, my buddy did, and I just kept thinking about the nightmare of 9 weeks of not being able to wipe your ass.
I have a bidet at my house.
There you go. That's the solution.
But I couldn't be able to... It's on the right-hand side.
You have to keep it right here. Like, how do you sleep, right?
For 6 weeks, you got to sleep upright.
Otherwise, the surgery is worthless. Anyway, well, listen, I know you got a flight to get to. I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming because, like, honestly, besides being a massive fan, even a bigger fan considering your recovery and what you've been able to do. And you know, I probably off camera ask you a few things about how you're able to do it in the limelight because that's impressive.
I just think I'm a regular guy, not trying to. I really do. I mean, once in a while I'll go, oh, I've accomplished a lot, but I'm just
stay regular. That's
I'm just trying to
key,
fucking
right?
stay
Right-sized.
regular. Not pick up a drug or drink a day at a time, and fucking hit the number.
Oh yeah. Well, I hope for all the service that you're doing today, you hit a number.